How on earth does Germany have 20,000 plus castles? I've spent quite a few months of my life now living in Germany with my fiancée Anna, and there have been a lot of cultural differences that some of them have been quite the shock. Some people may call this culture shock. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying that, but a lot of them have been very different. And in this video, I'm going to talk over the 10 biggest culture shock moments that I've experienced while spending my time here in Germany. First on that list would have to be a traditional German breakfast. Now back in Scotland, the UK, we typically will have like maybe the good old fry up, like the English fry up, or more commonly for myself, the full Scottish, where you get like sausage, square sausage, haggis, black pudding, tatty scone, egg, bacon, beans, tomatoes, mushrooms, toast, fried bread, and a roll. Yes, we eat that for breakfast, it's great, I love it. But over here in Germany, it's very different. It's meats, cheeses, and breads. It's very simple, but does the trick. It fills you for the day. It's just been very different. Another thing we have back in the UK would obviously be like cereals for breakfast. I've not really experienced much cereal over here. I do see it in the shops, but having it for breakfast is not really a thing I've seen. So I'd say the German breakfast is one of those big differences you notice when you come over. Second on the list, I'm going to mention double-decker trains. Now, to some of you there, that may seem mental, like double-decker trains are normal, what's wrong with that? Back in the UK, Scotland, I've never seen a double-decker train. I've seen double-decker buses, but there was the first time and we're waiting for the train to go to Dusseldorf, and all of a sudden this train pulled up. I'm like, whoa, there's people like sitting upstairs, like what is that? And Anna was like, yeah, like what's wrong with that? I've never seen a double-decker train before, so you guessed it, we ran upstairs to sit upstairs on the double-decker bus because I'm a big child. But that was, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying that's like a culture shock, but as one of the big differences I noticed as well is like the trains. And they're a lot more accessible here in Germany. The only downside with the trains in Germany, as you probably know, and especially if you're German and watching this, is their punctuality. They're never on time. Like, I could count on no hands how many times they've arrived on time late at night for us, traveling back from say Dusseldorf or Cologne. They're always late, but they're good when they're here. Third on my list would 100% be the recycling here in Germany. It is amazing in comparison to the UK. The big one would be the fan system. So where if you buy like a plastic bottle, like of say, let's just take a bottle of Coke or like a glass bottle or a jar of something, there's an extra charge placed on top of your purchase. Typically, and again, just at the time of recording, I don't know if these will change in the future if you're watching this later down the line, but I think it's for like a glass bottle, it's about 8 cents. For plastic that can be used more than once, aka it's just cleaned, I think it's 15 cents. And then for a normal plastic bottle that needs to be like melted down and recycled properly, it's 25 cents. Now you're somewhat punished if you don't recycle. Let's say you go into a store and it's €1 the bottle, you'll actually be charged €1.25. Now you're punished if you don't recycle because you don't get that 25 cents back. However, if you do recycle it, you get that 25 cents back. There's machines pretty much in every single store that you can go to, large and small. Pop your bottle in, it counts it, it gets your receipt out the end. You take that to the till, they scan it, takes that price off your shopping. It's a good system and it keeps people recycling. It's also very good for, say, those people who are in a very unfortunate situation, maybe homeless, don't really have an income. They can go around and collect bottles and basically feed themselves for free kind of thing, which I think is amazing. Obviously, the homeless situation is far from ideal, but it is sadly a reality in life. But there's an option for them to get money basically instead of needing to sit on the street and kind of beg people for money, which I know a lot of people don't like to do. So having that system in place also benefits those. It's also good for if there's ever festivals, you have people going to the festivals to collect the bottles, like that people just leave over because they're drunk or just forget or whatever. One experience I had at a concert, we were standing in queue and we had like a bottle of Coke, and there were bins kicking about, but there was no recycling points. However, there were a group of people who were standing with trolleys and bags that were basically collecting the bottles, and like they would take them at the shop and basically get the money back for them. So they basically recycled for everyone that was there, which was really cool. But I do think the rest of the world should implement this sort of system. I think it's really good, really clever, and there's multiple benefits to it. Very costly at the start, I would presume, to get it all up and running, but overall, very, very good system. Number 4 on this culture shock list has to be Sundays. Now, as someone who lives in Edinburgh, which is basically open 24 hours a day, having the whole place closed down on a Sunday took a lot of getting used to. I think I'm getting used to it now, but the whole needing to like prep your shopping, like to make sure you've got enough in for the Sunday, like it was totally surreal to me. I'm very fortunate that I've got multiple 24-hour Asda's. It's a supermarket chain in the UK. Walmart in the US, I think it is. We've got multiple 24-hour Asda's, and I think my closest is like maybe a 15-20 minute walk away. I could go down at Asda at 3 a.m, walk in, pick up a bottle of Coke, and I'm good. Whereas here in Germany, everything closes apart from like airports, hospitals, and restaurants. All the shops are closed. There's been multiple times in the past where Anna and I have been chilling, and then we've been like, oh, what do we need? And I was like, oh, let's just nip down to the shop. And she's like, we can. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, they're closed. I forget. It's just something I'm not used to. I do think I am getting used to it, as I say though, the whole preparing for the week, which is good. And it's also good that people are guaranteed like a day off, which, having worked in retail myself for many years, would be very nice. Like every single Sunday you will get off. That'd be pretty cool. Also, their opening times. The first retail store that I worked in was open from 6 a.m. till midnight, and it's just not fun. There's like memories of Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, like working till 10 p.m. Like, and in Edinburgh, the Lothian buses, brilliant company, brilliant system. Lothian buses, like their last bus stops at like 9 p.m. kind of thing, or at least it did back then. So if I finished at 10 p.m, like there was no way I could get a bus home. And if I needed to get a taxi home, it would be extortionate. So yeah, the opening times in Germany are great for retail workers in particular. So I think it's from like 7 a.m. till like 9 p.m. There are some exceptions to this rule, like varies, but on average, I'd say it's between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. So the latest you'll kind of get home would be the 10 p.m. But yeah, it's great for retail workers. Number 5 on my list is what's known in German as Rettungsgasse. I think that's correct. It's basically the system where you're on the autobahn driving and you hear an emergency vehicle and everybody moves to the side. Now in the UK, I personally don't drive. I'm not on the autobahn too often, so I don't know if this happens. I would presume so, but the fact that there's a German word for it and seeing it in action multiple times, it's very mesmerizing to watch. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying this is culture shock. It's more just a system that's in place in Germany that impresses me quite a bit. Seeing hundreds of cars and every single person knows exactly what they need to do and just moving to the side. And it's not like people get confused, like, oh, which side do I go to, and then go to the wrong side. Like everybody, at least from the times I've seen it, seem to know which side to go to. And I just think that's really cool that that culture has been developed. It's really useful because obviously emergency services aren't going that speed for no reason. So yeah, that's why that's on the list. Number 6, going on autobahns again. You probably know the stereotype, the autobahn, the unlimited speed. You can go as fast as you want for like ever. Turns out that's not true, which I'm kind of glad it's not true. There's, I think it's about 60%, don't quote me on that, but from memory, I think it's about 60% of the autobahn is unlimited speeds and you can go as fast as you want in the third lane. However, the other 40% is actually speed gated. The only, it's not fun, but from what I've researched into, a lot of the areas where there are speed limits, there is sadly a story behind that speed limit. I won't go into that any further. I think you might be able to work it out, but there is a story behind every speed limit on the autobahn. So if you're ever coming over here, from the UK or wherever, thinking, oh, I can go as fast as I want, please don't. There are people on the autobahn who shouldn't be on the autobahn. They put everybody's lives in danger by going that fast. Late at night when there's no one around, cool, do your thing. But during the day, personally, I feel no need to go over 160. And I say that because you can get past people. But we've been on the autobahn multiple times and we've seen cars doing at least 200 kilometers an hour, which is really fast. If you've never seen that, really fast. Typically these drivers are BMW drivers, Mercedes drivers, Audi drivers. There is sadly the stereotype for that. But yeah, the autobahn does indeed have speed limits. So Hollywood has taught you wrong. 7th on this list is German bakeries. Oh my goodness. I've never been so in love with a bakery. The amount of choice is staggering. I think is it over 3,000 types of breads in Germany? In a previous short that I'd done, I'd said 300 because that was the only concrete number I could find, but a lot of the comments were saying there's actually over 3,000 types of breads in Germany, which is wild. And that's not even including the sweet bakery treats. Yeah, it's very easy to overindulge in a German bakery. If you're ever over here, you need to go to one. They're spectacular. If you put them in comparison to some of the UK bakeries, there's nowhere near as much choice as there is over here in Germany, or at least not from the bakeries I've been to. Number 8 on this list. Funnily enough, at the time of recording this, the short about sparkling water just went out yesterday and everybody's going mental. I still don't get it. A lot of the comments have been saying you wouldn't drink cola without the fizz. There's a slight acidic taste to it. There's this taste to that, plain water is boring, but I still don't get it. Maybe after spending more time here in Germany, I will develop a taste for it. Who knows? But the fascination with sparkling water, carbonated water, is something that I think will always amuse me and always just be different to me. Back in the UK, it's if you go to a restaurant, say, and ask for, oh, can I get a water? They'll bring you over still water. Whereas in Germany, a lot of the places will bring you sparkling water. You have to specifically ask for still water. Number 9 on this list is a fact that blew my mind. And when I first discovered it, I was legit how on earth does Germany have 20,000 plus castles? How does that make sense? But after researching a little bit, it does make a little more sense with the whole history of Germany and people ruling this area, ruling that area, etc. That's why there's so many castles. The downside is castle is used very loosely, what they class as a castle, because there's I'm pretty sure it's palaces, fortresses, castles, and there's a whole shindig to it. Again, I'll save that for another video. But yeah, over 20,000 castles is just an insane statistic, and that shocked me. I remember we were going to holiday to Pirna, which is on the east side of Germany. Beautiful place, beautiful place. And when we were on the autobahn, I'm not even joking when I said we could see 3 different castles from this one spot. There was 2 over on the right and 1 over on the left. And it was just this is insane. 20,000 plus castles is it's just mad. There's actually more castles in Germany than there are McDonald's in America. If that kind of helps put that in perspective for you. Wild. And the last one on my list, it's a bad habit in the UK, but traffic lights. Now, often in the UK, I do it myself, pretty much everybody does. We just cross the road. We don't always wait for the green man. We always just cross when we want to. If there's no cars, we'll cross. Sometimes even if there is cars, we still cross because it's sadly just part of the society. Whereas over here in Germany, it's not as common to see people jaywalking across the roads. People tend to always wait for the green signal before crossing, no matter if there's cars or if there's no cars, like they will wait. I've also been informed that if you've got a driving license and you're caught by the police for jaywalking, you can actually receive points on your license, which is a good thing because it's trying to keep people safe, but it's also like, that's mad. Like that you can get points on your license and you're not even in your car, like crazy. But yeah, that was quite the shock coming over here. Again, I know it's a bad habit over in like the UK that we just cross the road whenever, but it's kind of nice to see such like order and like the rules being followed. And you often find yourself like following the rules naturally because you don't want to stand out from everybody else. So you in turn wait, which, as I say, is keeping you safe. So yeah, that's number 10 on my list. And there we have it, the 10 most culture shock type experiences I've had whilst spending time in Germany. Have you personally experienced any of these? Are you a native German and find what I find culturally different, culturally shocking, shall I say? Like, do you find that weird? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see me attempting, and I do stress attempting, to pronounce 16 different German brands correctly, you better check this video out here. I will say, I might do better than you think, but give it a go.